Holy hell. I knew we were getting some new series in Death Battle, but I was not expecting mythology. Now, before we begin this episode, I would like to tell you all that I had 2 thumbnails planned for this episode, and I was kind of debating on which one to use and which one to kind of just not use. So, I'm gonna show you the other thumbnail I made, like, right now. And yeah, that's really what I came up with. A batshit insane thumbnail for a batshit insane episode. Anyway, now we should probably get onto the actual prediction of this episode. So, Hercules versus Sun Wukong. Or, if you want to just flex your knowledge on Greek mythology, it's Hercules versus Sun Wukong. But because I like Hercules a lot more as a name, I'm gonna call him Hercules for the rest of this video. Yeah, I'm gonna be real here. I was not expecting this at all, but I'm really glad it's happening. Alright, for those of you who don't know, I really like mythology. Just any mythology in general. Japanese mythology is probably my favorite, with Chinese mythology tailing behind. And Greek mythology is probably third? No, Norse mythology is third, and Greek mythology is fourth. That's how it is. So yeah. I'm really excited for this. This is probably gonna be my favorite episode conceptually, and hopefully it'll be my favorite episode of season 9. Yeah. So, for starters, this isn't gonna be like one specific version of Hercules or one specific version of Wukong. It's gonna be the mythology versions. Well, okay, I should have rephrased. I should say this. It's not gonna be a like pop culture version of the characters. So it's not gonna be like Disney Hercules versus Lego Monkey Kid Wukong. Although that would be pretty cool to see, admittedly, because I like Monkey Kid. It's a really good show. It's also not going to be like... But, okay, you guys get what I mean. So, who wins this? Admittedly, I was a bit stumped, because I'm not really that well-versed on the Hercules mythology, while Journey to the West is probably one of my favorite stories that I've never read. I've been watching Overly Sarcastic Productions videos on Journey to the West, and I really enjoyed them. I'm really enjoying them. I love them so much. But from what I can gather, is that Hercules, his greatest feat would probably be that time he took over, sorry. Sorry about that. So, his best feat's probably going to be the time he lifted up the sky when he asked Atlas to get the golden apples from the tree. And I think that puts him at around, like, Universal. I've heard some people lowball it to Moon. I'm not sure where it goes, but knowing Greek mythology, it's probably on, like, the Universal to Multiversal scale. So, already he's at a cosmic level with, like, Uni to Multi strength. He's also a lot smarter than Wukong when it comes to fighting. In general, I'm pretty sure Wukong is smarter, but when it comes to like stats, strategies in battle, I'm pretty sure Hercules takes it, because Wukong mostly likes to toy around with his opponents before finishing the job with his insane monkey strength. So strength, physical strength is going to go to Hercules, along with tactics. However, Wukong takes every other category. For starters, he's way faster than Hercules. I think Hercules' best feat is like catching an arrow, or dodging arrows or whatever. Probably more, there's probably some lightning time feats in there, if you scale him to Zeus. Although I don't know why you would do that, but I'm pretty sure you can. But Wukong jumped from the palm of Buddha's hand to the edge of the universe in seconds, which puts him at massively faster than light plus speeds. And then there was that time he fought 30 constellations in a short amount of time. The dude is fast. He's, like, really fast. I'm pretty sure with his final Buddha form, we'll get to that, he has, like, omnipresent speed, but I can't be too sure. Anyway, so another thing that Sun has over Hercules is hacks and weapons. So I think Hercules' main weapons are a bow and arrow with Hydra poison-tipped arrows, so they're poison arrows. But he's also got a club and his Herculean strength. So I think that's about it. I'm probably wrong on that, but yeah. Another thing he's got, I think, is... Does he have anything else? I think that's it. Correct me in the comments. I'm, again, not really too well versed in Hercules' weapons and stuff. I know, like, the whole story of Hercules, but I don't really know his entire arsenal. All I know is that he's got a club, bow and arrow, arrows, and that's about it, all I know. But Wukong, on the other hand, not only does he have his staff, which, if I try to pronounce the name, I'd probably butcher it, so I'm not. I'm just gonna call it a staff from now on. So he's got a staff which can change size at, like, a whim. And also weighs, like, over 17,000 pounds. And he just wields it around like it's just like a toy for him. So there's also... and it can change shape. It's like a shape-shifting style, so it can increase in length, grow in size, all that kind of stuff. He also has the ability to transform into basically anything at the end of Journey to the West. It was originally 72 transformations. 78 is a mistranslation, I think, but it's 72. I think. Do I have that switched around? No, it's 70. It's 72. Yeah, it's 72. Count how many... Don't take a shot every time I say 72. You will be dead in, like, the first 5 seconds of me saying 72. So, yeah, he also has the ability to turn into multiple things, like a mosquito, a bird, a gorilla, just basically anything in general now, after Journey to the West, where he states that he can transform into basically an infinite amount of things. So he's pretty versatile. Not only that, but he also can, like, summon clones of himself with his hairs. So you can, like, I think he, like, pulls off his hair and then blows on it and summons a clone. So, yeah, overwhelming Hercules is going to be pretty easy thing for him to do with his weird amount of bullshit that he has. And there was also one last thing. Oh yeah, in terms of, like, power output, not physical strength. Because power and strength, physical strength, are two different things. I think power is basically how destructive you are, compared to physical strength, which is, like, more, just, like, big muscles, how much you can bench press, or something like that. Anyway, continuing on. I think he has way more power after he, well, not only fought 30 constellations in a short amount of time, but also fought north and south, as in, like, the directions. He fought something that is merely conceptual, and I think he won. This dude is insane, man. So yeah, when it comes out... Oh yeah, and then there's also the time he basically rampaged through heaven and hell and erased his name from the... Basically, the logbook that hell has to know when a person dies. We'll get to that now. Speaking of that, actually, immortality. There is no earthly way Hercules can kill someone who is mortal 6 ways to Sunday. Okay. Hercules is immortal, like the traditional sense of immortality. Like, he can't die, can't be killed, all that stuff. Wukong, on the other hand, has multiple forms of immortality. For starters, he has Taoist immortality, which took, like, years to practice, and he achieved. Then there was that time he ate the immortal peaches, which gave him more immortality. Then he drank a bunch of alcohol, which gave him even more immortality. Then he ate some of Lao Tzu's pills, which gave him even more immortality. And then again, he basically erased his name from Hell's logbook on who lives and who dies. Or I guess just who dies. So basically, he has 5 ways. I think there's a 6th one, but I can't remember that. But yeah, he's basically unkillable. And he proves this because, like, there was one time he literally had his head cut off. And then when he asked it to return, it wouldn't return because a bunch of people were holding it hostage. So he just grew a new head. 16th century China is just weird, man. So yeah, if you couldn't really tell, I'm definitely betting on Wukong winning this. Not only is he got way more power and is at an outer versal scale at full power with his Buddha form, which makes him like one with everything. He's much faster, much more durable, and practically Hercules has no real way of killing him, since he has like a crap ton of ways to just live after death. So yeah, I'm definitely betting on Wukong winning this, and it appears a lot of people are agreeing with me. So yeah, the agreed upon winner is Sun Wukong. Now, I could be wrong, of course, but I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling confident that Wukong is gonna win, because mostly because this season has been a lot of stomps, like as of late. I mean, we had Jinx versus Harley. Wanda versus Zatanna was a little more fair, but then after that we had Jonathan versus Tanjiro, which I guess was also a little more fair. But then Thor versus Vegeta, which was a complete stomp in Thor's favor. Then we had Omni-Man versus Homelander, which was just even more of a stomp. Then we had Magneto versus Tetsuo, which we'll get to that if, you know, I stop talking about this matchup. But I think I might have to make that a separate video. Nah, I won't. I'm too lazy to do that. Yeah, but a lot of the episodes this season have been, like, stomps. But you know what? I'm okay with that. As long as they're entertaining, then I'm okay. Alright. Last thing to talk about before we get onto the Magneto versus Tetsuo review. What I want from this fight, which I actually haven't spoken about with the other episodes, but I think with this one, with a character I really like Sun Wukong, I really want this episode to be good, so for starters, the animation. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I'm pretty sure, 90% sure, if I can just activate my psychic genes right now, it's gonna be like a 3D fight. It could be hand-drawn, but I doubt that since we already had Omni-Man versus Homelander, which was hand-drawn, and then we had, and a lot of those episodes have been sprite, so I'm gonna guess we're getting a 3D fight, because a lot of the 3D fights are pretty good in Death Battle, and we haven't had one since Jinx versus Harley, so anyway. Another thing is, what I want most is for the track to be just really freaking good. For those of you who don't know, I really like when you're doing like a kung fu fight and there's like this like oriental Chinese music. I really like that. It's so elegant yet tough, if you get what I mean. And that's what I want most from this fight. This episode, basically. I want the track to kind of capture that kung fu style. Maybe add in a bit of like Greek inspiration there, but like have it be like a mix between like Greek music and then, like, Chinese music, because that would be really cool. Anyway, this segment is getting long enough, so I am going to go over to the Magneto Tetsuo review, like, right now, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to cut it down to a little bit shorter than usual. But I make no promises. It could be just as long as this, and this could end up being like a half-an-hour video. Alright, see you then. Admittedly, wasn't really excited for that episode. I mean, the characters aren't really those types that I connect with. I don't really connect with these two characters. I mean, I watched Akira, like, in preparation for this, and Magneto I only know from the X-Men movies. So, not really a deep connection there. But this episode was really good. So, starting off, I immediately have to bitch a bit. The analysis for both wasn't really that interesting for me. Magneto's was fine, editing was solid, and so was Tetsuo's. But the analysis was just boring. I mean, aside from a few parts from Tetsuo's analysis, wasn't really interested. Now, the fight, on the other hand... Oh, and before I continue actually with the fight, there was actually no versus stuff. No calcs, no numbers, no comparisons between numbers. So, that was honestly kind of shocking, not gonna lie. Anyway, moving on. The fight. It does what Korra versus Storm does, with its, like, with one sprite being the Marvel vs. Capcom sprites, and the other sprites being in-house made. And it's fine, I guess. Not really noticeable if you're just watching it casually, but if you watch it with the intent to, like, watch through, like, frame by frame or anything, it definitely sticks out. But, you know what? Korra vs. Storm was good. And I liked that episode. So, I won't let that sprite animation bug me. So now, let's get to the positives. Holy crap, the freaking track is so good. Ego Death is honestly probably my second favorite track this season. Princess of Pride still that like pinnacle this season for me. I love that track to death. But this one's a close second. Followed by Diabolical Invincible Me, but we'll get to that eventually in my retrospective, but for now, let's just talk about this episode. So, the animation and the voice acting especially is really good. It's really solid. I don't know who the voice actors are, but they did a banger job here. Magneto's voice actor he comes across as that villainous bastard that I like in Magneto. Even though Magneto's more of like a hero character now, I guess? I don't know, I don't read comics. And Tetsuo's voice actor definitely came across as like when you first listen to his voice, when he's not doing his telekinetic speaking thing, telepathy, he comes across as like an aggressive kid, and that's really cool. I like that a lot. Anyway, continuing on, so they have a bit of a scuffle in the air where Tetsuo uses his telekinesis to basically use a bunch of signs on the street and basically throws them at Magneto, while Magneto uses his magnekinesis to basically redirect it and throw him back, which is pretty cool. Then when Magneto throws a building and Tetsuo stops it... No, wait. Did that come before or after the... It came after the... Oh, yeah. So it came after the arm ripping, as I remember correctly just now. And it was pretty cool as well. Tetsuo's "I'll kill you" line definitely feels more in character for him than it does for Broly when he said it in Hulk vs. Broly. So, hey, if you gotta recycle lines, then you can recycle lines. It's okay. And I'm trying to think of, like, oh my god. So, once Magneto's helmet is knocked off, Tetsuo does this, like, really cool thing where he, like, basically traps Magneto's head in a gravity well and begins to crush it. And, oh my god, the hand-drawn stuff in this episode is legitimately beautifully gross. Like, because there are some shots with, like, Tetsuo's hand in front of Magneto's face that's just beautiful. But then we get to the shots of Magneto's head getting crushed and it just bubbling. And especially Tetsuo's mutation. And it's just, that's what I mean by beautifully gross. It's beautiful to look at, but man is it gnarly. And I love that. It's so cool. The hand-drawn stuff in this episode, again, especially with Tetsuo's mutation, is fantastic. And then we get to I think it's actually better than Thor versus Vegeta's hand-drawn stuff, because there were a lot of stuff from that episode, like Thor holding Vegeta's face, and then Vegeta's face getting crushed by Mjolnir, which was really good, but this is just, like, on another level. I also really like how the blood was used in this episode, where basically Tetsuo was crushing Magneto's head and he was bleeding. And then when mutated Tetsuo grabs Magneto uses the iron from that blood to create soul blades to basically cut mutated Tetsuo's arm off. And that's just really cool. And you know what? The death, while admittedly is a bit of a weak killing blow, it carries a little bit of weight to it. It goes for the Jonathan versus Tanjiro approach of having a character perform a mercy kill. Basically, when Tetsuo is in his mutated form and tells Magneto that it hurts because his helmet's knocked off and he can communicate it with him via telepathy, Magneto takes this opportunity to kill Tetsuo. And then once that happens, Tetsuo thanks him because, well, it's a mercy kill. And he's happy that he doesn't have to feel the pain anymore. And in response, Magneto doesn't do, like, this whole I'm better than you speech. He, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He's like, you're welcome. And it's just, oh man, this episode is so cool. The post-analysis was nothing special, but it was alright. Overall, I'd give Magneto vs. Tetsuo an 8 out of 10. It would be bumped up to a 9 if the analysis was just a bit better, in my opinion, but man, this episode is solid. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And before I go, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support over the past few days. We went from 733 subscribers to 789 as of recording this in, like, 2 days, and that is just, I can't thank you enough, guys. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, do all you want, do all that stuff. I'll see you all in the next video, which will most likely be my Hercules versus Wukong review, and whatever episode comes after that prediction. So, yeah, I'll see you then. Take care.